Well guys, hello. Here we are, part 8 of the garage reno. Of course, we're still in the tool room, so I'll just give you a bit of a rundown on what's been going on. Been a couple of days since I've been in here due to work schedules and other things. But we had Sparky the electrician in and did some wirings, got things working there. Of course, that was one of the steps that needed to be done before we could start, insulating and vapor burying and then boarding, right? But I've given it some thought, and I was thinking about putting an attic access in here, and then I thought, well, why? And then I got thinking, well, if I don't put one in here, then I'm going to want one in here, and then being I don't have one in here, then I'm going to have to, or going to want to anyway, retrofit one in here, which will be a mess, right? So I'm thinking about putting one right up here in this section right here. I've got to measure out, and when the door opens, that's going to be the only issue with the doors opening, so it clears the molding or trim that I'm going to use, right? What I might end up doing is doing a recessed attic door, basically, and it'll have very little to no trim. And the cupboard doors, when they open, won't or shouldn't anyway interfere with the attic access panel being, the way she is, right? If I get time, I like to put the Dur vents in the soffits here. Of course, looks like there's going to be some cutting of the Dur vents, making sure they fit, and possibly even as going as far as throwing some insulation into the air compressor room walls. And if I really get going tonight, maybe I'll end up even going as far as throwing up some vapor barrier, and then ready for boarding. But got the Dur vents over here, and of course I'm dealing with whatever that is. They're 16-inch on center, and these Dur vents are whatever 20 inches wide or something, so I've got to narrow them or shorten them or whatever you want to call it to them. But other than that, that's pretty much all it's on the plans or whatever agenda going on for the evening here. But that's pretty much what my plans are for part 8 of the tool room reno. But we'll give the big garage door an opening here, get things going, and then we'll probably pull out the tools and all that, because I'll have to do a little bit of cuttings and all that. To get things rolling from there. But guys, it's kind of funny, like I know I've said this in the previous parts of this, but it's kind of neat to see the project come together and kind of how it's evolved or changed or took on kind of its own throughout the project, right? But let's get set up here, start making our cuts for the attic access there, and then we'll see how she goes and get her on in there. Okay guys, so here we go. We have our measurements laid out now for the attic access. Of course, making the the cuts. I decided to make the attic access hole 24 by 24. I know that's plenty to get up in, because the one in my house is only 18 by 24, I believe, or smaller in fact, and it's fine. Of course, this piece here is just a scrap piece going to be left over from when I make my cuts, but probably throw you on the old tripod here while I do the cuts, and kind of see how she goes from there. Well guys, here we go. Just got the attic access framed in and up in place. As you see, you know, kind of right there. This gap here between the wall and the attic access frame is actually 16 inches. So it's 3 inches bigger than the cabinet that'll be going behind it, so it's not going to interfere there. And, you know, it's pretty much in there, good enough and secure. Got it all, you know, the way I want her to be. Pretty much it'll probably have a door or so that'll either swing down that way or, you know, down this way with hinges on this side. Depends on, you know, how things go there. Or it'll be just like your old-fashioned type attic access that'll lift up and you can slide her left or right, probably to the right hand, because there's no electrical, you know, on this side, right? But we got the attic access framed in now. I'm probably gonna here soon start on the door vents. Have to decide what I want to do there for ventilation up in the soffits. I'll probably try drilling a couple of holes here to get adequate ventilation that way. If not, then we'll be knocking out some of the blockings in between, so kind of going from there. But you know, it's going fairly well. Things are, like I said, coming right along. Just a matter of you know, working with the time you have and trying to stay within budget, you know, for the time, for the, you know, between pay periods, right? I love to just lay down the cash and get everything I need at once and have the paint sitting here and everything going, you know, at time of startup, but sometimes don't work quite that way that you figure. So next best thing is to you know, work her this way, right? But guys, I'm probably gonna have a look, like I said, there in the soffit, see what I can do there, and you know, see how she goes from there. So we'll get at her. Just a little bit of an update here. Well, as you see there, we got the door vents in place. I did one every 4 feet, which should be okay. Probably could add a couple extra in time, or just kind of see how she goes from there. Of course, this side here, I've just in the process of adding them here. Pretty much the door vents are just, if you will, a piece of that foamy stuff. And really all it does is it pretty much just sits, and all it really does is just sit up here in your soffit and allow air movement to get from your soffit into your attic of your house or garage or whatever you choose to put it in. But in this case, of course, if you're going to use bat insulation or blow-in insulation, you want to, you know, try to use this product or a similar product due to that could restrict the air. If you don't, then when you got no air movement, if you have a lot of humidity, which the garage is not gonna, but in a house you'd have humidity from showers and stuff like that, then you could end up with mold, you know, mold issues, right? And nobody likes to have issues with mold. But pretty much with the baffle stops or door vents or whatever you know, you want to call them, pretty much they just slide kind of in place like that. Then you take your, you know, your stapler, and then really all you need to do is just pretty much staple them in place. Of course, be aware of shingle nails popping through, because last thing you want to do is, you know, pound your knuckle on a shingle nail, because that would really suck. Make sure she drops right down into the eave, so you don't have any gap down there, or else you pretty much just defeated the purpose of her. So I'll get these other two in, and then we could probably start, you know, insulating this wall behind me here. And once that's done, then we'll see if we can find the vapor barrier. Well, we're going to use the Roxol brand, of course, safe and sound insulation. This insulation offers fire and soundproofing insulation. Well guys, halfway through doing this wall here. Of course, got the insulation in place, got her cut, got her sitting in the wall about where I want her, of course. Just, you know, doing a bit of a check-in here just to show you guys the progress, and a few things like that. Of course, you got a couple areas here that aren't 16 inches wide, so of course you're going to have to cut them, narrow the insulation down. Now, just to show you guys, I'm using a serrated knife. We'll call it a bread knife. So of course, I'm going to install her probably on this wall as well as this wall here, just to you know, soundproof, or try to soundproof the air compressor room, so you don't end up with issues. And then of course in this other wall here, I'll probably throw some more of this other stuff up here and kind of roll with that. Of course, with the Roxol, if it does happen to get wet, it doesn't lose R value, where the pink does lose R value on the insulation wise, right? So of course they're designed for 16-inch on center walls. So if you're, this is where it helps to be precise on your framing, because you know, it kind of helps with everything kind of from that point on, if you will. If your framing was off, then your trim's going to be off, and then, you know, you're going to have issues kind of down the line. Now, unfortunately, you know, I didn't have the privilege of framing these walls here, but we're kind of got to work with what we got, right? So of course you throw the insulation in the wall here and kind of just let the wall itself hold it in. If she's too tight, it's not going to want to work the way it's supposed to. If it's too loose, well, it's obviously going to just fall out. So of course, let's throw it up on this wall here and, you know, kind of get her done. But I got a couple more sections to do here, and in this little kind of messed up area right where the window is, I'm not quite sure what they were trying to do with framing. It's almost like they had it planned for a bigger window, and they couldn't get the big window they wanted, so they had to narrow it down a bit. But like I said, guys, going along fairly well here. Let's keep on rolling and see how far we get. Well guys, here we go. Got the air compressor room all vapor barriered. I had just enough in my roll to do this room, which is pretty sweet. But of course I got to go buy more to do the other half, or the other 3/4 of the tool room plus the garage, you know, all that, right? But she's all up there. She's all acoustical sealant, top and bottom in the corners. I didn't do between the studs this time because I want the air to go, you know, between them this time, instead of like last time I sealed it, right? This time I want it to breathe, if you will. I got the corners and everything all ready. I could probably take a knife and trim this plastic away just to make a cleaner look, but we'll see how that goes. I might leave her for now, trim her later. Probably now we can start on the boarding, right? These plugins here are just above the 4-foot mark. I left them high, of course. Being a house, they'd be down, you know, there, right? But being a tool room or a shop, I wanted them higher, so I didn't have to bend over to plug stuff in. So we can lay our boards pretty much all the way right in here without hardly any cuts. For the plug-in boxes, same with this wall, we can board this whole complete wall and this back wall too. This wall here will have to measure out for the plug-in box, and the ceiling, take our measurements for the light box. But let's, you know, find our OSB underneath the pile of tarps and stuff we got going on out there. Lay her on out and, you know, see how she goes. But guys, that pretty much concludes part 8 of the tool room reno video. So yeah, in part 9 we can start boarding this room up, get things squared away there, and then we can vapor barrier and start boarding the ceiling and stuff like that out here. So as always, thanks for watching Maxwell's World. Comment, subscribe, and enjoy.